this episode, we want to know why are some birds laying white-shelled eggs and why are some birds laying brown-shelled eggs. If you look at these birds here, these are birds that will give us brown-shelled eggs. I will discuss further and I'll explain to you further how that is gotten. You girls, what are you doing? Oh, you want to go out? You want to go out? Oh wow, guys, you can see they're almost laying. You can see how. Wow. Let me check. I want to check and see if she's opened up. Oh wow, they have opened up, eh? Zim open. Smart. Nice. Oh wow. Wow. Wow, they're almost there. So you can continue resting and basking. Just enjoy your time here. You girl. Okay, fine. Can rest if you want. Guys, they're almost. We've just checked. We use the thumb principle, no, the fingers principle, to check whether they're almost. They're due. Let me just show you a little bit. How can you get a yellow yolk, like a super yellow yolk? And how can I get a smooth brown shell in my layer buds? Now, does yellow yolk refer to any nutritive value? When you talk about having a yellow yolk egg, does it have any nutritive value to the consumer? The answer is no. But because that is what the market wants, you have to produce for the market what it wants. Don't say or assume that you will go around educating the consumers and telling them that, look, a yellow yolk, a white yolk, a gray yolk are all the same, altogether the same. No, you will be out of business. The African setup prefers consumption of eggs that are yellow yolk. Some of them would even say, we want a super yellow yolk. For me, as a poultry nutritionist, if you want a green yolk, I will give you. If you want even a black yolk, I will give you. So then what makes the yolk yellow? Or what makes the yolk gray? There are components called carotenoids. Carotenoids, like the word says, are derived, like mostly are rich in carrots. Carotenoids are very rich in vitamin A. So if you're giving your birds feed that is very rich in vitamin A, then automatically you're giving birds feed that is very rich in carotenoids. Therefore, chances of you getting a yellow yolk are so high. In order for you to get a yellow yolk, you have to give birds feed that is rich in those carotenoids themselves. There are two types of carotenoids. We've got the artificial carotenoids, which we call the egg color. When you're formulating your feed, there's an ingredient you buy or you're given that is referred to as an egg color. Let me call it a chemical. This chemical egg color is now what gives the yolk the yellow color, the yellow yolk. Carotenoids can be gotten naturally. That's why you see the indigenous birds that are free-ranging have their yolk so yellow, and that is naturally. Like I said, carotenoids are gotten mostly from feed that is rich in vitamin A. So these birds mostly feed on fresh feeds, fresh matter, fresh leaves. They keep picking this feed as they move around. As they are picking that feed, then along the line, they are feeding more on carotenoids. That's why now their yolk is very, very yellow. So we have got natural carotenoids and artificial carotenoids. For the consumer who is watching me, in fact, I'll advise you that when you're buying eggs and you get the yolk is more yellow, the yellow the yolk, the more the chemicals you are consuming, because those are just artificial carotenoids. But now that AIM Agriculture is an egg producer, producing eggs for the market, when we don't add the yolk color or the egg yolk color in our feed, our consumers will not buy our eggs. We will be out of business simply because they will say these eggs are not nice, they are not sweet, they are not delicious, they are not yellow yolk. Carotenoids do not even give the egg a taste. So pay attention to that. But the easiest way to organically make or get carotenoids is just by giving the birds fresh or green matter. You know, give the birds lots of carrots, which is fresh and rich in vitamins. You'll even get the yolk going to a little bit of orange in color. The other important aspect that consumers will look at when they're buying our eggs is the smoothness of the shell and how tough the shell is. The tougher the shell, the more advantageous to me, the farmer. Why? If the eggshell is tougher, it means that the eggs can be transported longer or can be transported even on terrain or on roads that are not very smooth, but will have minimal breakages. Minimal breakages. To an extent, but very minimally, you can say that when the eggshell is strong, it will help prevent egg peritonitis. That is the cracking or the breaking of the egg inside the system of the bird before it comes out. Now, the cloaca is a very sensitive part or organ of the bird. The cloaca is the part that will determine whether we shall be in production and for how long. If anything touches the cloaca, tap, or the vent, tap, if it's pecked by another bird, like pop, and it gets swollen, you will not see eggs for the next couple of weeks, and the bird will not stop feeding. Therefore, the eggshell needs to be so tough, not so tough, needs to be averagely tough or strong in a way that the egg can smoothly come out of the bird, and then placement or laying is done smoothly without it breaking in the system of the bird. How do we make then our shell that strong? In our previous episodes, I've been talking about the feed, and all this starts from feed formulation. When the feed is formulated, all the way starting from the grower stage, even the chick stage, coming up towards laying, it is very important that you have sufficient amounts of calcium, and I can call it agricultural or animal grade or food grade calcium in the feed, so that your birds can consume that calcium, and then it is stored in the medullary bones, and then it's brought back to form the eggshell. For information, calcium or lime is the cheapest product in the market. It is the cheapest product in the market. If there's a food ingredient that you're going to get at 3 shillings per kilo to 6 shillings per kilo, is lime. So it is very important that then you give your feed, you give your birds feed that has the sufficient amount of lime. Don't give in excess because it's the cheapest raw material. Give it sufficient amount of lime. The bird will feed on it, excess is stored, and then you get an egg with a smooth shell. Now, when we talk about the size of the egg, size of the egg is determined by two factors. One, size of the egg is determined by the age of the bird. The birds that are starting to lay, we call them starters, will have a smaller egg size. Then as they grow, in their mid ages, they'll have an average egg size. And then as they're aging headed towards menopause, between week 72 all the way to week 100, the birds will be producing a very big egg, big volumed egg. And at that time, the bird is mature, it's also consuming more. The vent has also widened in a way that that big egg can easily come out. But such a bird, laying a big egg, you will even have its vent cracking. And once the vent has cracked, automatically we are out of production. So age will determine the size of the egg. Then the other very important component is the feed. The feed that you give the birds will also determine the size of the egg. Who loves you than AIM Agriculture does? That's why I discuss these points detail by detail in our masterclass, so that for you who wants to start, or for you as a farmer, you can use them to improve your farm and maximize on the output. Those are the key determinants of the egg size, the yolk color, the shell color, and the smoothness. Something like this, the color of the shell of the egg, is something that we have got no control over, simply because this is a genetic thing. The shell color is determined by the color of the earlobe. Now, you have got no control over the shell color. Long time ago, birds that were producing white-shelled eggs, even some of them are still there, mostly abroad, are the white leghorns. If you look at the earlobe, look at the ear of this bird. It is brown. So you're expecting a brown egg from this bird. But if you look at the color of the earlobe of the white leghorns, it is white. So genetically, the color of the earlobe is the same color with the eggshell. The eggshell takes the color of the earlobe of the bird. If you see a bird laying a black egg, the earlobe is black. If you see a bird laying a green egg, like I've seen on the internet, then I have automatically presumed that the earlobe is green. So your color of the shell has got no, you as a farmer have got no direct influence on whichever color you're going to get. That was already determined by the breed of the bird, which is also same to the color of the earlobe. I hope you're learning. I hope you're enjoying. I hope each day is something to get something new. And like someone commented and said, if you don't learn this time round, then you'll never learn. Check out the masterclasses. I've given you an offer, a half price, discounted price, limited just for this short period, a week from now. And then we get back to the normal prices. At least my followers won't complain. AIM Agriculture would have given you an offer, or rather an introductory offer to learn with him. I love you. Bye-bye.